I'm assistant coach Caron Butler of the Miami Heat, also philanthropist, activist, and author. I got into basketball because it was a gateway from men out of the streets. For instance, like when we grew up, the neighborhood community centers was always like a place that stayed open from literally right after school from 3 to 5. They shut the doors for 30 minutes and then they open again from 6 to 9. I kind of gravitated to the basketball court because naturally I was, taller than other kids in my age group. And, I had an advantage right there. It just kind of called me. It just kind of summoned me. And it took a life of its own. And eventually when I myself had got incarcerated at the age of 14, I was in juvie. I didn't have the luxury of getting canteen and things like that because no one was putting money on my books or anything like that. So I started playing basketball for canteen. And, if I didn't win games, I didn't eat. And that's kind of the mentality that I had, from playing the game of basketball from there on out, just playing with a sense of urgency and desperation. I've had the luxury of having some of the best coaches that you could ever ask for. I had so much guidance and, so many mentors along the way that really just poured into me. And the lessons that they was teaching me on in basketball, it really applied to life. For instance, how to always be an asset to whatever bench or team or anything that you're attached to. Whether you're the star player or the last man on the bench waving the towel, you can actively be involved in the process of, helping a team win or, moving the needle to success. Being a leader of men or a mentor of men and women, people look to you and for you to guide them, to help them be a better version of themselves, not just on the basketball court, or on any playing field, but also in life. I think social justice and activism is so important to me, particularly because I look at every male in my family, my personal experience that went through the criminal justice system. Some of it was recycled behavior, but a lot of it was because of all the misfortunes in the correctional system and the judicial system that just wasn't favorable for Black and brown people. So when I had, realized when I was young, I couldn't do too much about it because my voice I felt wasn't large enough. But when I built up the strength and courage and had the proper resources to fight this thing and combat this thing, I wanted to use my platform and amplify all the conversations that I had in my head, all the conversations and narratives that I felt like was created, by a tainted system, by a broken system. With real leadership, you have to be vulnerable. Like you have to be extremely vulnerable in conversations. It can't be scripted. I think that it has to be something that you just shoot straight from the hip. And that's what we was doing. This is something that you're passionate about. This is how you can get involved. And I do not want anyone to think that your voice is too small or you can't do anything or, my platform is not big enough to drive real change. All it takes is one inspired person that's just said that this is enough. And when you stand on that and believe in that, and the people that love you most rally around you and your efforts, you'd be surprised the type of impact and change that you can create.